What if real power didn't come from money, fame, or luxury, but from mystery itself? In a world where billionaires chase attention, there's one man who does the opposite. He disappears. No interviews, no scandals, no trace of origin. Yet his name, Zeus, echoes through Monaco's most elite circles like a legend whispered behind diamond doors. Some say he's a genius investor. Others believe he's an illusion. Too perfect, too untouchable to be real. But here's the truth. In Monaco, perception is reality. And Zeus mastered the art of being seen without ever being caught. Every silence is a statement. Every rumor, a weapon. Every glance, a move in his quiet game of power. So tonight, we'll step inside the golden mirage he built, where wealth bends to mystery and mystery commands respect. Stay with us till the end, because what you're about to see may change the way you define power forever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started inside the billionaires. They say true legends are not born, they are engineered. And Zeus might be Monaco's most carefully constructed legend of all. Before the world called him the billionaire ghost, there was no trace, no business school records, no startup headlines, no public milestones. Just a whisper, a name, and a man who seemed to appear out of thin air. In a city obsessed with lineage, where last names open doors, Zeus built his identity not from heritage, but from absence. He arrived quietly in Monaco, renting a penthouse overlooking the Riviera. No press, no entourage, just the subtle arrival of a car that made even veteran collectors stop, a black Bugatti La Voiture Noire. Within weeks, rumors spread faster than any headline could. Who is he? Why is he here? And that was exactly what Zeus wanted. The mystery became his first currency. Every billionaire in Monaco flaunted visibility, parties, galas, photographs. Zeus did the opposite. He created value through silence. People began to project their fantasies onto him. Some said he was old money from the Middle East. Others swore he was a tech prodigy from California. He never corrected anyone. Every guess was part of the plan. Because the moment you define yourself, you lose control of your story. Zeus understood that the most powerful image is the one no one can fully see. And while others chased cameras, he built shadows, layers of intrigue that only made his name glow brighter in the dark. His empire began not with a company, not with an investment, but with a mirage. A mirage that made even Monaco's royals pay attention. But behind that perfect illusion, there was a deeper strategy, one that would soon turn whispers into worship and mystery into an unstoppable source of power. Because the man who hides best rules longest. What if disappearing wasn't an escape, but a strategy? For Zeus, vanishing was never about hiding, it was about control. While Monaco's elite paraded their wealth across Monte Carlo's red carpets and rooftop parties, Zeus moved in the opposite direction, away from the cameras, away from the noise. He understood one powerful truth: the less they see, the more they imagine. He would appear unexpectedly, for just a moment. A fleeting glimpse at the Monaco Yacht Show, a silent figure stepping out of a rare Pagani Huayra, a quiet dinner at Hotel de Paris where even the waiters couldn't remember his voice. Then, just as quickly, he was gone. No selfies, no interviews, no trace. The mystery multiplied. People began to wonder if Zeus even lived in Monaco or was merely passing through like a shadow. But those who knew whispered that every disappearance was intentional, a calculated move to increase curiosity and raise his mythic value. The city's gossip columns wrote more about his absence than others' presence. His silence became louder than any statement. Investors wanted meetings, collectors wanted connections. Even the paparazzi, who could capture anyone, couldn't pin him down. And that impossibility, that sense of untouchable distance, transformed him from man into myth. Zeus turned absence into allure. Each time he vanished, his worth seemed to grow. Each sighting felt like discovering a secret, and every secret fueled the legend. He wasn't selling an image, he was selling the impossibility of knowing the real one. And that's when Monaco began to realize he wasn't just a billionaire living among them. he was orchestrating the very narrative of luxury itself, turning disappearance into the most expensive form of attention. But behind every perfect act of vanishing, there's always a stage manager pulling the strings. And soon, someone would start asking, who's writing the script behind Zeus's mystery? Because no illusion lasts forever, unless it's built to. They say rumors destroy reputations, but Zeus proved they can build empires. In Monaco, where gossip spreads faster than a supercar engine, Zeus mastered the one thing even money can't buy: narrative control. He didn't need to speak. The city spoke for him. Each rumor, each whisper, was a carefully placed piece of a puzzle only he could see. One week, people claimed he was heir to a royal fortune hidden in Swiss vaults. The next, they said he owned half the penthouses along Avenue Princess Grace. None of it was ever confirmed. And that was the genius. Zeus never corrected a single story. He let imagination do the heavy lifting. Every rumor added a new layer to his legend. When someone asked, who is Zeus, really? The answers varied: billionaire investor, tech visionary, shadow philanthropist. And the more versions appeared, the more untouchable he became. Because in a world obsessed with facts, Zeus became the mystery money couldn't measure. Behind the scenes, his silence fueled demand. Journalists searched, rivals speculated, and socialites tried to claim they knew him personally. Even false stories worked in his favor. A whisper that he was buying a rare diamond or backing a secret yacht project could shift markets overnight. It wasn't chaos, it was choreography. Zeus understood the psychology of fascination. When people can't define you, they can't stop talking about you. And in Monaco, attention is currency, one that only grows in value when it's rare. He didn't chase the spotlight, he built his own gravity. And soon, that invisible pull began attracting everyone, from collectors to crown heirs, into his orbit. But power built on whispers is fragile. And as the rumors grew louder, so did the danger of one escaping his control. Because even the man who controls the story can be rewritten by it. Every empire has a face the world sees, and a shadow that truly rules it. In Zeus's world, that shadow had a name whispered only among Monaco's elite: the Queen. She wasn't crowned by royalty, but by influence. Elegant, elusive, and impossibly composed, she appeared beside Zeus only in passing, never speaking publicly, never confirming their connection. Yet, her presence changed the temperature of every room she entered. Art dealers paused mid-sentence, investors adjusted their tone, and even old money families watched her with a mix of admiration and quiet caution. They called her the Queen because no other title fit. She moved through Monaco like a chess master, never wasting a move, never revealing her next play. While Zeus mastered silence, she mastered perception. Every gala she attended became a headline. Every fashion choice turned into a statement of quiet dominance. Insiders whispered that she shaped Zeus's image from the very beginning. She built the aesthetic, the color of his suits, the cars that appeared in fleeting photos, the architecture of his penthouses. Her influence wasn't loud, but it was absolute. She understood that power, like beauty, works best when it doesn't announce itself. Together, they were perfection and mystery, the world's most controlled illusion of wealth and love. But those who watched closely noticed something deeper. When Zeus vanished, she remained. She attended the right events, met the right people, and kept the legend alive. It was as if she was both muse and architect, queen and strategist. And that raised the question everyone was too afraid to ask. Was she merely standing beside Zeus? Or was she the one orchestrating him from the start? Because in the kingdom of illusion, sometimes the shadow isn't following the light. It's leading it. What if the richest empire in Monaco wasn't made of gold, but of perception? Zeus didn't just build wealth. He built a mirage so flawless that no one could tell where illusion ended and reality began. His empire wasn't carved in stone or cemented in skyscrapers. It was hidden behind elegant fronts, art galleries, shell companies, and luxury brands with anonymous investors. Each piece looked unrelated, but together they formed a perfect puzzle of influence. The Queen called it the architecture of invisibility. From Monte Carlo to Portier Cove, properties whispered his taste but never carried his name. Every yacht, every supercar, every asset was owned through layers of trust funds and offshore firms. To the public eye, Zeus owned nothing, but in truth, he controlled everything. And that's where his genius lay. He turned anonymity into armor. The less people could prove, the more powerful he appeared. Investors trusted him not because they knew who he was, but because they didn't. That mystery became his signature brand, a luxury rarer than diamonds and more valuable than reputation. Even the banks that served Monaco's elite treated his accounts like sacred myths. They didn't advertise him as a client. They whispered his name like a secret they were privileged to keep. His wealth existed everywhere and nowhere. It was an empire built on whispers, reflections, and trust, not in documents, but in legend. The Queen once said at a private soiree, "Visibility is for those who need validation. We already have power. But every illusion, no matter how beautiful, depends on one fragile thing: control. And when that control begins to slip, even the most perfect empire can crack like glass under the weight of truth. Because what Zeus built wasn't just a fortune. It was a world that could vanish, the moment someone dared to look too closely. Every illusion needs a hidden engine, and Zeus's empire was powered by one thing the public never saw: his network. While most billionaires flaunted their Rolodex of celebrities and CEOs, Zeus built something quieter and infinitely stronger. His circle wasn't made of fame, it was made of leverage. Behind closed doors, he formed silent alliances with Swiss bankers, old European families, discreet art curators, and Monaco's most loyal gatekeepers, people who valued privacy over publicity. Each relationship served a purpose. A banker managed the invisible flow of capital. A shipping magnate lent his name to a vessel Zeus quietly controlled. A noble family hosted him under the pretense of friendship, but in reality, they owed him more than they admitted. Together, these pieces formed a lattice of influence, delicate, invisible, and unbreakable. They called it the Circle, a web that stretched from the French Riviera to Zurich, Dubai, and beyond. No contracts, no signatures, just trust and silence. Because in Zeus's world, loyalty wasn't bought, it was traded. You offered information, access, or discretion, and in return, you entered the only club that mattered, the one no one could prove existed. The Queen, ever the strategist, acted as the bridge between these worlds, turning introductions into opportunities and whispers into agreements. Together, they moved billions without ever touching headlines. For outsiders, it was impossible to trace. For insiders, it was paradise. A perfect ecosystem where everyone gained and no one spoke. But every network has its weak link. And as Zeus's power expanded, so did the tension between secrecy and exposure. A single betrayal, one leaked document, one careless word, could shatter the illusion he had spent years perfecting. Because the higher you climb in the shadows, the more dangerous even a spark of light becomes. And somewhere, in the midst of luxury and loyalty, that spark was already flickering. Silence can be power, until it becomes a prison. For years, Zeus ruled Monaco without uttering a single public word. But as his influence grew, so did the noise around him. The same mystery that once made him untouchable began to draw unwanted attention. Journalists started connecting dots between luxury properties, anonymous trusts, and coded transactions. Competitors whispered that his silence was no longer elegant, it was suspicious. Even within the circle, cracks began to form. Some allies wanted recognition, others feared exposure. The Queen tried to hold the image together, but even she sensed the change. People no longer admired the legend, they wanted the truth. Who was the man behind the myth? Where did his empire really begin? And why did he refuse to be seen? In a world where reputation is currency, rumors turned from fascination to investigation. Yet Zeus stayed unmoved. No statements, no denials, no defense. It was as if he believed the less he explained, the more powerful he remained. But power built on silence demands a heavy toll. Isolation grew around him like a fortress, and within that silence, he became a stranger in his own legend. The whispers that once protected him now circled like vultures. His name, once a symbol of intrigue, started carrying a different tone: fear. Then came the turning point: a leaked photo, a document, or perhaps just a word spoken by the wrong person at the wrong time. For the first time, Zeus realized control was slipping. The narrative he had written in shadows was now being rewritten by others, louder, bolder, and beyond his command. And for a man who built power on mystery, losing control of the story meant losing everything. Because silence can crown a king, but it can also bury one. They said the illusion was collapsing. But what if the collapse was part of the design? When silence became dangerous, Zeus did what no one expected. He reappeared. Not with a press conference, not with a scandal, but with precision. A quiet return at the Monaco Grand Prix, walking beside the Queen as the cameras turned, stunned. It wasn't noise, it was timing. One perfect appearance after years of mystery, and suddenly, the legend was alive again. He didn't speak. He didn't explain. He simply existed. Calm, composed, and untouchable. In a single moment, he reminded the world that power isn't about visibility, it's about control over perception. The whispers shifted. The same media that once questioned him now called him the master of mystique. Investors returned. The circle realigned. The Queen smiled, knowing the illusion hadn't broken. It had evolved. Zeus had turned exposure into spectacle, transforming danger into desire. Because that's the secret every empire built on mystery understands. People don't want the truth. They want the feeling of believing it. And Zeus gave them that feeling better than anyone else. He wasn't selling wealth. He was selling the art of wonder, the fantasy that something greater, more refined, more elusive still exists in a world that shows too much. In that silence, Zeus found immortality. The rumors, the theories, the stories, they became his monument. He no longer needed to defend his empire because the myth had outgrown the man. The Mirage lived on, and in Monaco, where luxury meets illusion, that was the ultimate victory, to be both real and unreachable. But deep inside, one question still lingered. When power becomes illusion and illusion becomes power, can even Zeus tell the difference anymore? In the end, Zeus's story isn't just about wealth or power, it's about mastery. The mastery of silence, of image, of illusion. He proved that in a world obsessed with showing everything, mystery is the last true luxury. While others chased fame, he built an empire from whispers. While others shouted to be heard, he turned absence into presence. And that became his signature mark. Maybe that's why Zeus will always remain untouchable. Because power fades, fortune changes, but mystery endures. And as the lights of Monaco fade into the sea, one truth remains. Sometimes the most powerful thing a billionaire can do is simply not be understood. If you've enjoyed this journey inside the billionaires, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching, for believing, and for diving into the golden shadows of Monaco with us. Because here, where illusion meets reality, the story never truly ends. It only becomes more legendary.